uncertain ally in the region. Secretary Kerry lecturing Israel about the ramifications of failure to secure peace with the Palestinians. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu fuming about the Obama administration closing in on a deal with Iran tonight, and a deal that does not halt Iran's nuclear ambitions. I'm Lou Dobbs. Good evening, everybody. Secretary of State John Kerry today warned Israelis about what happens if they fail to secure peace with their Palestinian neighbors. Kerry on Israeli television said this about the Israeli negotiators, quote, "I mean, do they want a third intifada?" And he didn't stop there. The Secretary of State went on to say, quote, "There will be an increasing isolation of Israel. There will be an increasing campaign of delegitimization." The Secretary's remarks come a day after he slammed Prime Minister Netanyahu for continuing to build settlements in the West Bank and East Jerusalem. It appears now that Secretary Kerry may be within hours of committing the United States to a deal on the Iranian nuclear program, a deal that would ease economic sanctions on the rogue nation and merely slow, not stop, their uranium enrichment program. Netanyahu condemned the Obama administration's Iranian strategy. He said the president is about to, quote, "make a mistake of historic proportions." Kerry to meet with the Iranian foreign minister tomorrow. Fox News senior foreign affairs correspondent Amy Kellogg in London tonight with our report.
There is the possibility that an interim, albeit imperfect, deal could be penned before tomorrow is over to end the standoff over Iran's nuclear program. The details are still secret, but the White House says the potential deal with the world powers, or P5+1, would stop Iran's nuclear program from advancing for the first time in a decade.
In exchange for concrete, verifiable measures to address the P5+1's concerns during the first step, the P5+1 would consider limited, targeted, and reversible relief that does not affect our core sanctions architecture.
Iran would place limits on its enrichment program, but its centrifuges would still spin, something that rankles Israel.
Israel totally opposes these proposals. I believe that adopting them would be a mistake of historic proportions. They must be rejected outright.
Israel wants to see Iran stop enriching uranium altogether, but Iran has said repeatedly it won't. Discussion is now about acceptable limits. It's widely agreed it's important Iran stop adding centrifuges and cease enrichment to 20% purity, a form Iran uses for a medical reactor, but which is technologically a short step away from weapons-grade material. One expert believes Iran must also declare all centrifuge manufacturing sites.
During this interim period, which could be 6 months or longer, they could continue making thousands of centrifuges. And then if the deal falls apart, then they could emerge and be able to deploy those centrifuges quickly.
David Albright also believes it's critical that in the context of a deal, Iran addresses all unanswered questions about the nuclear weapons program the UN watchdog suspects it had at one point, at least on a research and development level, a point he hopes won't get lost in all the centrifuge counts